the seats are dressed in red for all the living and the dead. The dust motes dance in golden light, a prelude to the coming night. They call me patron, call me friend, the man on whom the odds depend. They see the silver, they see the grace, they never see my other face. This opera house, this gilded gate, is both my prison and my state. I trade in beauty, trade in sound, on this most sacred, bloody ground. Every aria, every note is a promise that I wrote in steel and shadow long ago. The city changes, where's a man? A new and unforgiving task is set before me, stark and clear. The age of monsters is now here. This is the overture in black, the promise there's no turning back. The curtain rises slow and deep on all the secrets that I keep. The overture in black, a silent vow, the war begins right here, right now. They bring their flags, they bring their guns. My army's made of violins, and every singer has a blade. He walks among us, slick and proud. He speaks his poison to the crowd. A man in uniform, a snake, who wants my beautiful world to break. He sees the stage not for its art, but as a way to tear apart the city's soul, the city's heart, a brand new brutal place to start. He doesn't want my money or my trade, the deals my ancestors have made. He wants my legacy, my name, to fuel his own pathetic flame. He thinks I'm soft, the man of song. He could not be more fucking wrong. He thinks the music makes me weak, the silent language that I speak is older than his new regime, a dark and operatic dream. This is the overture in black, the promise there's no turning back. The curtain rises slow and deep on all the secrets that I keep. The overture in black, a silent vow, the war begins right here, right now. They bring their flags, they bring their guns. My army's made of violence, and every singer has a blade. The conductor lifts his white baton, the final piece is dead and gone. The story's old, the music's new, a tragic tale for me and you. He wants a war of iron might, I'll give him one, but in the pale stage light. He thinks he's here to rule the day. He's just a player in my play. The overture begins to fade, the first scene of the last crusade. Let the opera begin. The start of a magnificent joke. He sits up in the owner's clocks, ignoring all the ticking clocks. My honored guest, my news fool, who doesn't know what he can know. He thinks he's safe among the elite, in his velvet cushion, gilded seat. The soprano sings, a voice so clear, it banishes all doubt and fear. But in her wine, a tincture sleep, a secret that the cellar keeps. Not dead, but something far more slow, to make his certain senses go. A subtle poison for the ear, the start of all he has to fear. He'll wake tomorrow feeling strange, slow and imperceptible change. The world will sound a little wrong at the ending of a final song. This is a poison area, soft and deep, sung while the sleeping city sleeps. A note that lingers in the brain, a symphony of coming pain. The poison aria, sweet and long, the first note in a funeral song. It isn't fast, it isn't loud, but it will separate him from the crowd and leave him terribly alone. The poison's not what she drinks, but in the very way he thinks. A gentle listener that works on pride and power, man. It amplifies a doubt within, the place where all the fears begin. You'll start to hear a whisper's hit, a serpent in his lover's kiss. He'll see betrayal in a friend, a story that will never end. I'm not attacking him with might, but turning off his inner light. I'll make him tear his world apart by playing on his paranoid heart. This is the poison aria, soft and deep, sung while the sleeping city sleeps. A note that lingers in the brain, a symphony of coming pain. The poison aria, sweet and long, the first note in a funeral song. It isn't fast, it isn't loud, but it will separate him from the crowd and leave him terribly alone. And leave him terribly alone. He thinks his mind is a fortress wall, but every fortress has to fall. You don't break down the gates with stone, you find a seed that can be sown. A single seed of pure mistrust that turns a diamond into dust. He thinks he's hearing phantom sound, he's hearing his own hunting hound. The aria's done, the crowd all cheer, the music that will feed his fears for years. The rumors start, a quiet breeze among the ancient cypress trees. The line of boulevards at night, he doesn't look or feel quite right. He misses meetings, cancels plans. He doesn't trust his own two hands. He sees a shadow in the hall. He answers answers to unspoken calls. He's telling them his phone is tapped, that all his best laid plans are trapped. His own ring, yeah, they start to doubt. They try to work the problem out. Is he a madman or a seer? The line is getting far from clear. There's a phantom at the opera now, who's taken the most silent vow. He pulls the strings, he sets the stage, and writes on every single page. A phantom at the opera here, who feeds upon a tyrant's fear. He doesn't live in cellars deep, but in the promises you cannot keep, and the secrets that you sell. The stage, a grand design, a subtle hand, a secret sign, a backdrop painted with a knife that watches from a bloody sky, a chorus dressed in black like spies who whisper out his favorite lies. He sits there in the crowd and sees his own corrupted prophecies. He thinks the opera is a code, a heavy and a secret load. He thinks the artists are my men. He doesn't know just how or when. I turned his world into a play and scripted his own slow decay. There's a phantom at the opera now, who's taken a most silent vow. He pulls the strings, he sets the stage, and writes on every single page. A phantom at the opera here, who feeds upon a tyrant's fear. He doesn't live in cellars deep, but in the promises you cannot keep, and the secrets that you sell. I make him the star of his own show, the tragic hero, don't you know? The man who's haunted by the state, the victim of a cruel fate. He is the author of his pain, the hero's loss, the villain's gain. I am the phantom, he's the man, the victim of my perfect plan. The phantom waits, the show goes on until the last of his own pawns is gone.
The second act, the time is right, beneath the pale unofficial light. His second in command of Brood in a perfectly tailored fascist suit. He watches his own boss with dread. He thinks the man has lost his head. He sees the weakness, sees the crack. He knows there is no turning back. He wants the power, wants the throne to make this brutal gives me a secret gas to put my loyalty to the test. He thinks I serve the highest bid for all the dirty work I did. He offers me a partnership with a cold and calculating lip. He'll kill the madman, take his place, and leave behind no single trace. This is a tinner's blade, a different voice, the making of the deadly chores. When power sings a brand new song for those who've been his seconds all along. The tinner's blade, a promise made, the price for every soul betrayed. He thinks I'm his secret friend, on whom his future will depend. He doesn't know in the my late a tenor, a man of might, who lives for one last glorious night. He owes me everything he is, his fame and all his victories. He has a past, a hidden shame that could destroy his precious name. The brute I'm meeting is the one whose dirty work was never done. Who hurt my tenor long ago, a secret only I could know. So I arranged a meeting place, a final terrible embrace behind the stage where no one sees, among the painted canvas trees. There's the tenor gonna roll and making up the deadly choice. When power sings a brand new song for those who've been in second all along. The tickets stay to remain. They topple up, he's never detained. He thinks I'm his new secret friend, on whom his future will depend. He doesn't know, in the aria that I wrote. The tenor doesn't sing tonight. He finds a different dark delight. A private concert just for one before the final race is run. A rifle falls, the debt is paid. A beautiful and bloody serenade. Two problems solved with one design. His vengeance is completely mine. The blade is cleaned. The tenor sings. The joy of perfect vengeance brings the stages sweat. Ooh. Awaken from a fever dream. The patrons stress, they pour the wine. A perfectly constructed line. Between the fantasy and truth, the bitter anger of our youth, I stand alone upon the roof, the living and the final proof. The city sprawls beneath my
my feet. A bittersweet and cold defeat. I'm winning, yes, the plan is sound on this forbidden holy ground. But every move I have to make for my own family's bloody sake chips away a piece of me for all the world to never see. This is the intermission in smoke, the final bitter whisper joke. You fight the monsters, play the game, and you and they become the same. An intermission in smoke, a quiet dread with all the voices in my head. Am I the hero or the beast, the greatest and the very least? The line is blurred, it disappeared. I came here for the love of art, to play a clean and noble part, to build a shelter from the storm, a place to keep the music warm. But now the music is my blade, the most effective cold crusade. I use the beauty I adore to settle a much darker score. I've turned my temple to a tomb, a gilded and a lonely room, where every note is a new lie, a perfect way for things to die. I'm saving it by killing it, just bit by awful little bit. This is the intermission in smoke, the final bitter whisper joke. You fight the monsters, play the game, and you and they become the same. An intermission in smoke, a quiet dread with all the voices in my head. Am I the hero or the beast, the greatest and the very least? The line is blurred, it disappears. The warning bell begins to chime, the end of my own stolen time. I have to go back to my seat and orchestrate my own deceit. I am the patron and the snake, for goodness and for pity's sake. I wish that I could walk away and live to fight another day, but the show must go on. The intermission ends, the darkness falls, the final act is cold.
There is a man who writes for prayer. He judges failure and success. His quills are sharp and poison dark. He tears the city's soul apart. He serves my rival, serves the state. He writes the gospel of their hate. He calls my opera decadent, weak and corruptive and he calls my patrons bourgeoisie, the worst kind of complicity. He wants to shut my theater down, to run my name right out of town. He thinks his words are his own shield on this little battlefield. But the critics quill can ride both ways through all these dark and desperate days. A single word can build or burn the final lesson he will learn. The critics quill, a hired gun, the loneliest of wars is won. Not on the stage, but on the page, in this new and unforgiving I find his weakness not his greed, a much more fundamental need. He wants to be a playwright, see, a failed and bitter wannabe. He has a script, a tragic play. He keeps it locked and hidden away. A masterpiece, or so we think, that hovers on the very brinks of genius. So I make a deal, I make his secret dream feel real. I tell him I will stage his show, the only way the world will know his talent hid him for so long. How could a choice like this be wrong? But the critics quill can ride both ways through all these dark and desperate days. A single word can build or burn the final lesson he will learn. The critics quill, a hired gun, the loneliest of wars is won. Not on the stage, but on the page, in this new and unforgiving age. We stages play the opening night beneath the pale and buzzing light, and it is awful, truly bad, the saddest thing I've ever had to witness, and the crowd, they know the end of his pathetic show. I didn't have to write a thing, I just let his own failure sing. He's not a threat now, he's a joke. The final bitter word is spoke. The critic's dead, the writer's born, and just as equally forlorn. His quill is broken. The critic's broken. When the show is done, the crowd is gone, and loneliness will see the dawn. They leave a single bulb to burn for the ghosts who wait for their return. They call it the ghost light, cold and bare, a sentinel in the empty air. I stand alone upon the stage and turn another bitter page. The war is turning, I can feel
the wound that's starting to congeal. But every ghost I put to rest just puts another to the test. The ghosts of who I used to be are all that's left to comfort me. And the ghost light shines on an empty seat. It illuminates my own deceit. It doesn't judge, it doesn't care. It just reminds me that I'm there. The ghost light is my one true friend, the light that's waiting at the end. It burns for phantoms and for me, the loneliest of tragedies. Yeah. My father's ghost is sitting there in his old and customary chair. He doesn't speak, he doesn't move, he has no lesson left to prove. He just watching me with weary eyes. He sees right through my best disguise. He was a brawler, fought with steel. He knew exactly what was real. This war of whispers, war of art, was very simple, world apart. He sees a son he doesn't know, who reaps what he would never sow. A stranger standing in his place with a different kind of saving grace. And the ghost light shines on an empty seat. It illuminates my own deceit. It doesn't judge, it doesn't care. It just reminds me that I'm there. The ghost light is my one true friend, the light that's waiting at the end. It burns for phantoms and for me, the loneliest of tragedies. The ghosts of every note I've played, the ghosts of every deal I've made, the ghosts of every life I've been. The man I am, the man I was meant to be. They're all here in the dark, a single solitary spark. The light is not for them, you see. The light they leave is burning for me, yeah. The ghost light hums, the theater sleeps, the promise that the darkness keeps. My rival's corner, he's alone upon his cold and crumbling throne. His men are dead or they have fled from the voices in his paranoid head. His allies in the state have turned for all the lessons they have learned. He is a liability for all the world to find us. He has one final card to play. he doesn't know I waited for this, the final serpent's deadly kiss. This is a final act, the curtain call, the moment that he loses all. This is a trap I set so long ago, the only way I'll ever know if he is truly what I think. It brings him to the very brink. The final act, the fire bright, will be his last and only light. I wait for him inside the hall, in answer to his final call. He comes with torches, gasoline, the most pathetic final scene. But the building's not as empty as he thinks. It hovers on the very brink. My people wait in every wing, the final chorus that they'll sing. Not with their voices, but with steel, the only truth he'll ever feel. I didn't want this blood and fire upon this sacred funeral pyre, but he has left no other choice. He silenced every other voice. This is the final act, the curtain call, the moment that he loses all. This is the trap I set so long ago, the only way I'll ever know if he is truly what I think. It brings him to the very brink. The final act, the fire bright, will be his last and only light. You wanted a war of steel, I say, in the most unimaginative way. So here it is, your final stage, the turning of a bloody page. You could have had the world, you see, but you made an enemy of me, and my world has a higher price. He won't be making that mistake twice. The final act, the final blow, the end of his pathetic show. Bravo, bravo. The aftermath is still and cold, a story that will not be told. The papers say a fire broke out, a final unforgiving doubt was cast upon his sanity, a footnote for humanity. They praise my men for saving art, for playing their heroic part. The city breathes a sigh of peace, a brand new long and hopeful lease, and I am left with ash and dust, the memory of a dying trust in my own self and my own soul, for taking such a heavy toll. The victory is clean and clear. The only thing I
The loudest note is the one you don't hear. The disappearance of all fear. A crescendo of silence deep and vast. A shadow that is built to last. The war is won, the monster's dead, but the silence in my weary head is the most deafening of all the sounds. My singers clean their hidden blades through all the common dark decays. My stagehands stack the empty crates among the cold and iron gates. The opera house is safe and sound on this most hallowed haunted ground. And I am left to count the cost of everything I've won and lost. I save the beauty, save the grace, but I've become this time and place. A man of shadows, man of light, with old and unforgiving eyes. I fought the dragon, won the fight, and I become the endless night. This is a crescendo of silence after the symphony of violence. The loudest note is the one you don't hear. The disappearance of all fear. A crescendo of silence deep and vast. A shadow that is built to last. The war is won, the monster's dead, but the silence in my weary head is the most deafening of all the sounds. I stand alone in the main hall and wait for the next curtain call. But there are no more plays to see. The only actor left is me, and the audience is all just ghosts, my silent and my dreadful host. The show is over, I'm still here. The silence grows, the silence keeps. The promise that the darkness sweeps forever. Forever. The years go by, the city heals, the turning of 1,000 wheels. The fascists fall, the world is new, a different and a brighter hue. And I am old, my hair is gray. I watch the children as they play outside the opera house I own.
honored and respected throne. They call me maestro with a smile. They've long forgotten all the guile and blood and fear and sacrifice. They offer land the heavy price. My history's a faded script from which the darkest parts are ripped. I am a legend, I'm a saint, a beautiful and old oil paint. They call me El Maestro, a man of art who played a brave and noble part. They see the statue, not the man, the founder of a brand new clan. They call me El Maestro, and they bow, they don't remember how this peace was won, this grace was earned. The lessons that were never learned, they just remember the applause. In the owner's box, and I can feel the ticking clocks. I see a young boy in the crowd who's laughing just a bit too loud. He has the fire in his eyes. He's full of hope and full of lies. He sees the world as his own stage to turn a bright and shining page. And in his face I see it all, the pride that comes before the fall, the hunger and the burning need, the harvest of a poison seed. The cycle starts all over new. There's nothing I can say or do. The opera's old, the play's the same. He'll just give it a different name. They call me El Maestro, a man of art who played a brave and noble part. They see the statue, not the man, the founder of a brand new clan. They call me El Maestro, and they bow, they don't remember how this peace was won, this grace was earned. The lessons that were never learned, they just remember the applause. That the angels sing, it's a beautiful and perfect lie, and I will wear it till I die. It's the greatest role I've ever played, the final perfect serenade. El Maestro nods, the curtain falls, a silence in these hallowed walls. Knows the truth, it always has. It always has. The opera plays a brand new score, but I have heard it all before. The tragic hero, proud and tall, who stands to gain and lose it all. I see myself in his damn pride, the darkness that he keeps inside. This opera's not for kings of old, a story that is brave and bold. It's a requiem, a mass for them, the broken, lost and condemned. Oh! every soul who played a part inside this city's broken heart. This is a requiem for the taking in, for the ones who won but lost their way at the closing of a brutal day. A requiem sad and deep for all the promises we couldn't keep. We sit in silence in our chairs and say our last and lonely prayers while the music washes us away. I see the tenor holding gray, who dreams about a different day. The critic sits alone and writes through all the long and empty nights. A woman who I loved is here, with a man who doesn't know her fear. We are the survivors of the war, who don't know what we're living for. We wear our scars like fine new suits, the bitter and the twisted fruit of a victory that cost too much, the loss of a hidden touch of grace or hope or innocence. It doesn't make a bit of sense. This is a requiem for the taking in, for the ones who won but lost their way at the closing of a brutal day. A requiem sad and deep for all the promises we couldn't keep. We sit in silence in our chairs and say our last and lonely prayers while the music washes us away. The hero on the stage can die and earn a sentimental sigh. He finds his peace in his last breath, a beautiful and noble death. But we the living must remain and learn to live with all the pain, to walk the streets to see the ghosts of all the things we love the most. That is the curse, the real damn cost. The requiem ends, the silence falls, the final of the curtain calls for us. For us.
A young girl who had a limp, story's only just to begin. She plays with fire, plays with soul. She make my broken spirit whole. If only for a little while, I see my father in a smile. Her instrument is old and cracked, her family's honor has been sacked by some new predator in town who wants to tear her future down. She comes to me, not for a curse, but something better and not worse. She wants a patron, wants a shield on this new and bloody battlefield. I see myself in her damn eyes, before the anger and the lies, before the war, before the fall, the moment just before you lose it all.
to me in rooms of smoke and dread. I give my counsel to the dead and to the living. I'm the priest of the greatest and the very least, the patron saint of broken things. I'll mend your tired and broken wings, but the price is that you'll owe your flight to me. Is my penance, my one good deed, the planting of a better seed? Or is it just a different game, spoken with a prettier name? I save a soul, but in the end, she's one more asset, one more friend that I can use, that I control. The highest and the final toll, I didn't save her, I just bought her. The saint is just a sinner with better taste and so much more to waste, so much more. City names a wing for me, a monument for all to see. The Berlin wing of autumn grace, a permanent and public space. The politicians give a speech with all the truths they'll never teach. They call me pillar, call me friend, on whom the city can depend. My portrait hangs upon the wall, for the great and for the small, to gaze upon with awe and pride. They never see the man inside, the phantom and the killer and the ghost, the one that I abhor the most. They built a statue of my name and polished it to hide the shame. They've curated a perfect past, a lie that's surely built to last. This is a beautiful lie, the kind you tell yourself at night to make the darkness feel a little bright. A beautiful lie told in stone, for the seeds of violence I have sown. They celebrate the man I played, the perfect calm crusade. I wage against the city's sin. They don't know where I truly begin and where the monster has to end. pure in its deception, its design. This legacy is truly mine, a masterpiece of no retreat, a gorgeous and a grand deceit. This is a beautiful life, the kind you tell yourself at night to make the darkness feel a little bright. A beautiful lie told in stone for the seeds of violence I have sown. They celebrate the man I played, the perfect calm crusade. I wage against the city's sin. They don't know where I truly begin and where the monster has to end. If you tell a lie that's big enough and your delivery is rough and beautiful and full of grace, they'll carve it on the city's face. And after time you start to see that even you can start to be a true believer in the end. Your greatest and your only friend is the lie. The lie is told, the story is set. The only truth is to forget. And I'm trying. Watch the play, the final scene of the tragic hero and his queen. He dies for honor, dies for love, a message from the gods above. The crowd all weeps, a silent wait for the hero in his noble grave. But I just watch the curtain fall, and I feel nothing at all. I've seen too many endings now, the broken promise and the vow. There is no glory in the end, not for a rival or a friend. This is the encore, the final sound on this unforgiving hollow ground. You play your part, you take a bow. The only thing that's real is now. The encore and the crowd all cheers for all the wasted bloody years. They want one more song, one more taste of all the beauty letting music in, is the conductor of the show. She makes the music ebb and flow. She looks at me and gives a nod, a secret unforgiving God. She knows the truth, she knows my name, the master of this brutal game. She is my final piece, my beautiful and damn release. She'll run this world with grace and might. She knows the darkness and the light. She is the woman I could be if I had ever been born free. This is a encore, the final sound on this unforgiving hollow ground. You play your part, you take a vow. The only thing that's real is now. The encore and the crowd all cheers for all the wasted bloody years. They want one more song, one more taste of all the beauty and the waste. But the singer's voice is gone, you see. I close my eyes, the music fades. A lifetime of these masquerades. I didn't die a hero's death. I'm wasting my last precious breath in a velvet chair with no acclaim, just the whisper of my own damn name. Was it a tragedy or farce? This inheritance of silent scars, I do not know, and in the end, it doesn't matter, my old friend. The encore's over, the house lights rise, the truth behind a master's eyes is silence.
The patrons leave, the hall is bare, just the cold and empty air. The ghost light burns upon the stage, a final and the empty page. I do not move, I do not speak. I'm far too old and far too weak. My heart, a slow and tired drum, has finally quietly succumbed. curtain falls, a whisper of red velvet, the final secret has been kept. The curtain falls, the story's told of a man who bought and then was sold. The curtain falls on all the lies beneath the cold and watchful eyes of all the ghosts who sit and wait. Silent and a final fate. The janitor will find me here with nothing left to hope or fear. A well-dressed man who's fallen asleep, a promise that he couldn't keep, to his own self, to his own art. He played a brilliant broken part. They'll write my name in books of stone, the greatest patron ever known. They will not know the wars I fought, the brutal lessons that I taught. They will not know the things I've seen, the man I could have truly been. My life was just a grand design, and none of it was ever truly mine. And the curtain falls, a whisper of red velvet, the final secret has been kept. The curtain falls, the story's told of a man who bought and then was sold. The curtain falls on all the lies beneath the cold and watchful eyes of all the ghosts who sit and wait. A silent and a final fate. The final silence is so deep, the only promise I will keep. The overture began in black. There is no final turning back. The play's done, the actor's gone. Just the quiet coming of the dawn upon an empty, silent stage. The final turning of the page. The curtain falls, the ghost light hum. The silence is what I've become.